All right, good morning, good afternoon, good evening, everybody, depending on where you're joining us from today. We're going to get started. One of our presenters is having some technical difficulties, but Andy's going to try to cover for Jakob, and hopefully Jakob will be able to join us along the way. Before I hand you off to Andy, though, as always, welcome. We have a couple things I need to go over. If you do have questions along the way, please use the questions box or under the GoToWebinar control panel. We actually, on these sessions, we actually want feedback and questions. So if anything is interesting to you, please let us know. We love that kind of feedback. If for some reason we can't get through all of our questions today, I'll make sure Andy gets everything he needs to follow up with you later. We are recording the session. That's why you're all muted. That's why I'm suggesting you use the questions box. And the last thing, and the replay will be available out in the Db2 Tools community, either sometime later today or tomorrow morning. And the last thing for me is, as always, we want to make sure these are valuable sessions. So a short survey is going to pop up at the end of the webinar. If you could stick around and give us some feedback, I know Andy would appreciate that. It looks like Jakob is on his way in, so maybe Andy won't have to cover, but Andy, I'm going to hand it off to you, and we can decide if we want to wait a minute to get Jakob's audio working or however you want to handle it.
Hello, can you hear me?
We can hear you.
Awesome, so I'm here. That was our Jakob audio test, so we're good. Thank you.
Good.
Hi, good morning, good afternoon, everyone. Those in the U.S., I hope you're adjusting to the time change well. Thanks for joining us today for our March community update, where we get to share with you, what we've been working on since our last update in February. So it has been, a month since our last conversation, so which is the cadence we like to keep, but we probably don't have a 4 hours worth of time and content for you today, but hopefully you still find what we have to share with you of value. Quick disclaimer, just in case we do touch on anything that is part of answering questions that does indicate, future direction. We are a software company and do retain the right to change that direction at some point in the future at our discretion. I'm Andrew Badgley. I'm one of the product owners here with the Db2 Tools, along with Jakob Hoffman, Robert Begar, and Srinivas Dupa. So we are always very interested in your feedback and thoughts. So please reach out to us at any time, post blog comments or discussion points in the communities, add ideas to our ideas section. All of those are great ways of getting a hold of us and engaging with us. Today's agenda, one item that I'll be presenting around general information for Db2 Tools, and then Jakob has a couple of items that he'll talk about as well. As Lem was indicating, we aren't just interested in questions, we're interested in just your general feedback. So if you have just input, suggestions, in addition to questions, we want all of it. So please take the opportunity to provide that to us as we go through this discussion and presentation. And moving right into our topics, Db2 Tools, at the beginning of the month, we published level set 20.0.03. So I talked just a little bit about that and level sets in general. As I mentioned, level set 20.0.03 was made available on March 4th. Level sets, for those that aren't familiar with them, are a way that we provide a sync point for bug fixes and new functionality. Product panels and reports now do include the maintenance level set, and as additional information that you can provide to support when calling in support cases. That helps them to know that as of that level set number, you have all the maintenance prior to that, and it just helps understanding of where your maintenance is at with your products. A level set creates prereq chains. So level set 20.0.03 creates a prereq chain of all PTS published and including level set 20.0.02. So that's how we can create a consistent point of your maintenance and new functionalities through this generation of prereq chains. I am happy to say that this level set does actually introduce new functionality that does require activation of the level set, and Jakob will be talking about that log analyzer functionality a little more in just a minute. If you're interested in a full list of the new functionality that we've delivered since 20.0.02, I do encourage you to go to Cynthia Ham's community post on that topic. And since we do have activation, new functionality associated with activation, we also have a step-by-step walkthrough of how to activate your first level set. That's available through a YouTube video linked here, or you can just do a Google search on level set activation, and that should pop up in your Google searches as well. That does include, all steps for all the configuration and setup of your environments to be able to activate your level set and get access to the functionality that provides. Len, do we have any questions or feedback? Yep. I'll take that as a no, Len. Okay, Jakob, are you ready?
Hi, yes. So, good morning, good afternoon, everyone, depending on where you are. I'm pleased to update you very briefly on the two new enhancements that we've delivered recently. We're starting with the log analyzer and its new feature that we call object filtering in strategies for a DDL activity report. We start with the problem statement that the log analyzer DDL reports do not allow DBAs to filter activity for the particular objects out of the box. And DBAs have to filter activity data manually from the existing DDL activity report output. Well, this is not the case anymore. And let's go to the next slide, please. You can see how we updated the ISPF panel for DDL activity reporting. Highlighted part is what has been added, and you can filter by database and a table space. Also, this new object filter can be used in addition to the existing include-exclude filter above. Next slide, please. And here you can see how the input from the panel that we just saw in the previous slide is manifested in the syntax. OBJF ILT is added in the DDL REPT statement. And you can go to the next slide for any questions, assuming there are any. As Andy mentioned, this feature is can be enabled by the level set activation.
Yeah, so sorry, Jakob, I was on mute. So far, we don't have any questions.
Okay. So there are none. We can probably move to the next slide. So as probably all of you know by now, IBM announced a new DB2 version some time ago, and migrating from older DB2 version to newer one has not always been a trivial task, and the new DB2 version is no exception. So you as a customers will face several tasks that need to be completed before claiming migration was successful. And as you know, migration process requires specific planning. And with this report, we try to help you with that. We have added the new tab in the MRI front end. In this new tab, you can check the new DB2 version readiness report. This consisted of several graphs. I think it's like 20 plus. We have split the report graphs in 3 categories. Those are requirement, recommendation, and warning. Requirement represents work that you must resolve before the migration starts. All these charts must reach a value of 0 before migration. Recommendation provides suggested work to be resolved before the migration. We recommend that all these charts reach a value of 0 to avoid potential problems during or after the migration. The third category is warning, which represents work to consider for the future. This work does not affect the actual migration, but from a long-term perspective, these items should reach a value of 0 as well. Now, given that we take advantage of the trending graphs, it allows you to check the progress of your readiness to migrate to the new DB2 version in the future. Given that the graphs are easy to read, remember data should trend to 0, which represents your ability to start migration. This report may come handy to DBAs, to your management and project and or change management. So you can request a free of charge trial of this report. So you can have a look on this report on your own without paying anything. And this was the update on the MRI DB2 report. Now I'm open to any question.
No questions.
Thanks, Jacob. It's nice to see the enhancements to Log Analyzer, and I'm sure as our customers start migrating to the next version of DB2 when it becomes available, they'll get a lot of value out of the MRI report as well. So thank you for that. This was a short meeting, folks. Do appreciate your time. In closing, our next community update call is scheduled for April 11th. Look forward to you joining us then. And if you missed our last call in February, here's a link to that call as well. The slide deck will be made available as part of the replay for this call, so you can get access to these links. We also do, as I mentioned, every community update call, we do have a validation project that we're always interested in adding additional participants to. If you're interested in being part of our validation project, and not only just hearing about the things that we've done in these calls, but also being part of the conversation of what are we going to do and what is it going to look like and what is the user experience going to be, we do encourage you to reach out and join our validation project. Our next validation call is actually going to be tomorrow, so you still have time to join our project before that call and participate in tomorrow's validation call. Also, as an active maintenance customer, you can consume our web-based training courses and digital badges at no cost. This is not, free as part of being, a maintenance customer with our products. And some of the new additions that we have broken out the detector training into multiple courses that are more consumable. And we have a quintet of badges for our Db2 Tools products across all of our different product suites. That, everyone, we are done with today's meeting. As Len mentioned, there is a survey at the end of this. When the call ends, please do fill it out. We do value the feedback that survey information contains for us. Thank you for your time today, and have a great rest of your day.
Yeah, before everyone goes, I also want to remind everybody that we do have our DB2 Tools roadmap webcast next Tuesday. No, not next Tuesday. Yeah, no, next Tuesday, the 22nd. So you can go out to the community and register for that as well.
Oh, sorry, Len, I guess I should have a slide for that.
No, it's all good.
Looking forward to that too.
Thanks, everybody. Have a great day. We'll see you soon.
Bye.